And of course, we know that salvation is whatever it is that you desire at the moment.
Yeah, and it answers all your questions. It answers all your problems. If you'll just relax. And well, that's another thing. People sit in a silence and they don't relax. See, I mean, the body's probably relaxed because they're in the chair, but I mean, the brain has to kind of shut out the world momentarily, completely, and that's why it says, "Be still," not just be quiet. Be still. That you're stilling the whole world. Now you're on. What are you saying? What are you thinking? That's the question. What are you thinking about? Because that's what you're experiencing, isn't it?
It is. You were talking about relaxing, and the other day I had gone to the doctor's office for a physical, and when you get out of traffic and then you go into the doctor's office, your heart's still pumping, and your blood pressure still spiked. And so the person inquired with me, was my blood pressure normally high? And I said, not at all. I said, but I had just come out of traffic and trying to make my way here. And so I said, give me a few moments to, as you called it, relaxing.
Yeah.
And I settled down for a moment and just relaxed, went into the silence, and my blood pressure dropped to its norm, 120 over whatever, and but that wouldn't have happened if I didn't relax. And this is also going back to what Mr. Lindell was saying. You have to, even in the silence, leave those cares. Jesus said, go into the closet, shut the door. Leave those cares on the other side of the door.
Yeah, you won't lose them. When you open the door, you'll go, "Oh,
talk about the barrel. You remember the barrel when you used to do the metaphysical? Talk about the barrel.
I had this 55-gallon drum, painted the inside of it black. So if you're looking, you look like you're looking at a hole in the ground. But and then I tell them, look, when you pass by there, take your problems and dump them in there, and just dump them in there and leave. But you know what? They'll sneak back at night, and they just can't let them go. That's it. If I have to lock everything up, because if I didn't, they'd be back in there looking there and say, "Whoa, whoa." But some people told me that they really had a feeling about that, and that's what it was to create. It was to create a freedom from those things you just dumped in there. And if you would do so and do so completely, you'd find a relief, because that's what it is. It's relief, being relieved of your problems. And all you have to do that is to just let go and let God. Because even Jesus told you, I of myself can do nothing. The Father within, he does all the work. So you're not told to do anything on the without. It's what you're doing on the within. Thinking feelingly about what? I mean, that's all you have to do is just answer that question. Thinking feelingly about what? Because that's your life. That's your experiencing. It doesn't change until you change your mind, change your world. But you can do so. God told you to do. If God told you to do it, well, I mean, you're gonna argue with him. I mean, that's what you're doing. If you're not doing it, you're arguing with him. No, and he won't zap you. Really, he don't do that. I know they tell you they do that, but he don't do that. He doesn't need to. A word and everything could change from him. And one word and everything changes. That's what you're to do. You're to make a statement. You're to decree a thing that it will be so. You have to decree your mind. I want that. I am that. And stick with it. Stand and see the victory. It is as simple as that, isn't
It is, and I like even with the freedom bucket, I like to call it the freedom bucket, the freedom drum. When people put their cares, their worries inside the drum, you said some of them will come back at night, and want to take whatever that problem was that they came. And it's so true. I've talked to so many people, coaching clients and so forth, and you give them a way out, and they're so excited about the way out. But then they say, well, I appreciate you giving the way out, but I think I want to hold on to this a little bit longer. And they go and they take back what you've helped liberate them from.
Yeah, you have to forget it. I mean, if you're going to let it go, then let it go. You see, halfway is not working. Letting it go and just thinking about it once in a while, that just brings you right back into it. You're told be in the world, but not to be of the world. And the world worries about everything. And you get you worrying about everything. And then you're wondering why your life's not working. Well, what are you thinking about? It, it has to be that simple. What are you thinking about? As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, so does he, so has he, on and on throughout the stories. You can't get around it, so you might as well move in with it. And you can't get around it, can you?
You can't. You stated earlier, and I kind of want to touch on it because it was very profound. You said, listen, um, when you're in that place, once you release the stuff, let go, let God, it says what everybody wants is the feeling of relief. Now, some of us call that feeling of relief happiness, whatever. A lot of times we think that we want money. And of course, I know that we need money, for example, to pay bills. But often what we want is the relief that money gives us, being able to pay that bill, being able to go on that trip, being able to pay that car note. That's what you go after. So a lot of us are repelling the money because we're still operating from not having, we're still operating from worry, we're still operating from the stressors. And what Mr. Lindell was saying is release it. And once you release it, you become open to receive what it is that you're seeking.
Well, we can say it over and over and over that as you think you are. And that probably means something to some people, but it actually means your whole life. Because thinking is where you're going, what you're doing, and what you're having. And if it's not pleasing you, if it's not satisfying you, then what would be the opposite? What would be the alternative? Because you have a lot of alternatives because you're thinking morning, noon, and night. And the thing of it is, it says this day, choose this day. Well, it's always this day. So you're on the next day too. And if you didn't like this day, then you've got another chance to change it. But do you take the time to change it? What are you giving your time to? You know, if you would actually go into the silence and really feel what you're thinking and feeling, you'd have a program as to what you want to avoid.
Love it. I love it. You said if you go into the silence and really allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling, if that feeling isn't what it is that you desire, but you now have a program to say, okay, this is what I need to work from, and begin thinking of what it is. Well, think of, then think from your desire. So whatever your desire is, and this is why Mr. Lindell keeps inquiring with you, what do you want? See, what do you want is the GPS system. It's the when you're on a trip, you know where you're at, but you need to know where you want to go. And if you don't know where you want to go, then what you're going to do is find yourself going in circles. So when he says, what do you want? This is the litmus test to where you're going. Because see, if you can't name where you want to go, you'll never get there.
No, that's right. That's right. You have to state it. You're told to state your case. Well, state your case. What is your case? Are you happy? If that's your case and you're happy, that's fine. Build on it. Build your confidence. And that's what you're doing. You're building your confidence to accomplish what it is you want to accomplish. it's always up to you. It's always up to the individual. You have a say. You have a valid say. And when I say valid, that means it means something when you say it. And it does. It means your life. Feel after him and you'll find him. That's you doing, being, and having what you have decided is what you want. Be it in mind, in imagination, in the theater of mind, in the theater of mind, meaning that you're actually seeing yourself doing, being, and having what it is that you desire. I mean, DeCarlo will tell you, give it to him.
Absolutely. And so, in understanding what he's saying, if you're doing it in theater of your mind, it's going to be outpictured on this screen of space. And whatever you're doing in the theater of your mind is going to be outpictured in the theater of space. So now look at it this way. What are you experiencing right now? Know that this was first and foremost, as Mr. Lindell says, only new as ideal. It was first and foremost thought in your imagination. Or even if you've given that over to somebody else, he says, you can either choose yourself or give your choice away. Either way, it's your choosing. So if you're not happy with your current situation, understand, say, I created that. This empowers you. This is not about blame. This is empowerment. When you begin to understand that you created it, you're well on your way to change.
Yes, look, you have successes, right? Do you take credit for them?
Absolutely.
See, well, but that's just it. People don't.
Yeah,
People don't take credit for the things they do right, but boy, they give an awful lot to what they did wrong.
that's true.
So if you kind of flip that over,
Yeah,
it'd be very beneficial to your whole life of experiencing. Because look, it tells you very plainly that as you think you are. I mean,
yeah,
how much clearer could it tell you that what you're thinking about, that's what you're going to experience? Is that what you want to experience? If it's not, stop it. And when I say stop, I mean drop it completely. If you leave even just a little tiny bit there, it'll expand. You see, because what has your attention has your life, and you give your attention to everything very freely, but you have to be careful what you're giving your attention to, because it can be disastrous if you're not thinking correctly. And being lost in thought, that in itself right there can be anything from uncomfortable to disastrous, just thinking amiss. And you do that unaware. But that's what we're telling you. The more aware you are, the better off you are, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the goal of all of our talks is just to make you more aware. Our goal is not to dictate to you what you should think, how you should think, but that you think. And as you understand that you think, if it's not leading you to where you want to go, you have an opportunity right now. And it doesn't matter how old you are. Some people think that when they get to a certain age, and all of a sudden, it's too late for them. But as Mr. Lindell can attest, there's no age limit, correct?
No, absolutely. There's no age limit. Matter of fact, there is no limits,
Yeah,
because we're told that all denial is self-denial. We're denying ourselves. God's not denying you anything. He told you to ask. What did he say? Ask what? No, he didn't. He's leaving that up to you. He would tell you how to act if you ask him. He says you receive not because you ask not, but then you continue it, and then you're asking amiss. But are you aware you're asking? Look, you're making a case for or making a case against. What? Just ask yourself, what? Why am I thinking this way? Well, you talked about catching yourself. Yeah, I did a whole talk on it. Just catching yourself. Just just listen to what you're saying. I mean, especially if you're having a conversation with somebody, and you're saying things like, "Oh yeah, well, I wanted to do that, but that's out of the question." See, it's not out of the question. unless you make it out of the question. Now it's out of the question because you said so. That as a man thinketh. That really starts the ball rolling, doesn't it?
It does, and I want to make it fun for them. Make a game of it. Not only listen to your conversations, but listen to the conversations of those people around you, and see we can be more objective when we're looking at other people. So do this: look at certain people's conversation that you know, and look at their lifestyle. And what you'll see is that their conversation and their lifestyle always mirrors one another.
That's right. That's right. Every word. I mean, and when it says every word, man, that kind of nails it down, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. I mean, every word is taken in the culmination to make up your life. Now, if you've said something a while ago and you say, "Oh, God, what did I say? What did I do?" Well, just cancel it. It comes up on the screen here all the time. Cancel. If you don't like what you can cancel it. Well, you can do the same thing. You have a cancel button. I mean, you have to use it, but you have it. And that's the thing. You have to use it. You have to show up. You have to claim what it is you want. You have to claim your independence. You have to claim your lifestyle. You're given to do so. Why not do so? It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to go anywhere. I mean, you don't have to leave your home to do that. Attitude, attitude, attitude. That's what it's about. What is your attitude about anything around you? I mean, just examine your attitudes and you'll find out where you're missing, because you are missing if you're not happy. And that's what God tells you. You're missing it if you're not getting the essence of the messages. And you listen to the different people in the Bible, and they tell you, they let you know what they're thinking, and then you see what they're doing, and you see that they're doing is what they were thinking, and it's the same thing for us. So if you say, "Well, I wouldn't do that," no, but do it anyway. See that they do it anyway. They say, "Well, yeah, I know this isn't good for me, but yeah, well, but what? If it ain't good for you, drop it." Right?
Absolutely. And that can carry over into so many areas of our life, but it's so true that we do those things that we even know that's harmful for us. And then we ask the question, why me? Why this? Why now?
Yeah. Why? That's exactly the question I'm asking you. Why? Why are you not treating yourself better? I mean, you're the one putting yourself down. Nobody else can put you down unless you accept what they say. See, if you don't accept it, then it don't work on you. But if you accept it even just a little bit, it'll grow. And it'll be your fault, not theirs. You see, if you're looking for people to blame, just look in the mirror. That's the only one you need to talk to. Talk to that one, the one in the mirror. The attitude, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, they say that a man is his attitude. If you're your attitude, what is your attitude thing? Sit down and think, what are my attitudes about this? And what are my attitudes about that? And you'll find out where you are right there thinking feelingly about what. See, that's all you want to know is, what are you thinking about? See, you're thinking all the time now. Thinking about what? What are you thinking about, really? I keep repeating and repeating it because I know the problem I had in sitting in the silence and actually trying to focus on what it was I want to accomplish. But other things kind of float through, and you wind up giving them a few minutes, and then you're gone. You're not there anymore. I mean, you're still sitting here, but you're not really there. And I do that to myself all the time. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, nothing's really happening. Well, I'm the one that's happening, and I am happening. Do I enjoy it? If I don't, well, you're giving it out. We're all giving it out. You're told it as you think you are, think lovely and a good report, and you're out of it. But if you don't, well, what are you thinking? I keep hammering on this because it's the basis of what you're doing, being, and having. That's the basis of it. What are you allowing yourself to entertain as thought? Lovely and of good report? Fine. If it's not, well, take the consequences. There's always trade-offs. Remember that.
Yeah. You stated earlier, you were talking about the cancel, say a thought, because of going back to thought. And you said, listen, if the thought is not taking you to where you want to be or do or have, then cancel it. And I like to add this to the cancel. Once you cancel, replace it with that thought that's more conducive to what it is that you desire. So, because it says that nature abhors or hates a vacuum. It doesn't like an empty space. So if you cancel one thought, if you don't replace it, then of course that thought comes back. But
Yeah.
Jesus says that thought comes back with friends.
Really, really. Yeah. It's got to justify itself to keep itself with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even the wrong things have to justify themselves, or you'll get rid of them.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
as you think you are, we can end the whole thing right there.
Oh, absolutely.
Huh?
Absolutely. That's, yeah.
If you just keep it that simple, you'll remember it.
Yeah.
See, at first, what I did, I had all kinds of things going on in here, but simplify, simplify, simplify. As you think, you are, you do, you have, you be. That statement alone should be enough to guide you for the rest of your life. Really, wouldn't you think?
I don't think that people understand what's being given to them. I mean, literally, you're giving them the solution to desired change. And so, as in closing, what would you say to the listeners in ordering, then waiting, ordering your conversation right?
God is on your side. What can possibly be a problem if you realize God is on your side? And that's all there is to it, is remembering how it started. He gave you choose this day. What are you choosing? That's the question. What are you choosing? You're choosing all the time. You're thinking feelingly all the time. What are you choosing? I mean, if you get that straight, the rest of it just falls in place. Now, what are you told? The kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is right with you. What else would you need? If you can actually bond with the kingdom, then everything else is just added on to you. Seek first the kingdom of God, and then it's all okay. But if you don't, it ain't okay. And you can live with it ain't okay. In fact, most of the world is living with it ain't okay. And they're putting up with it. Why? Because they're too lazy minded, too double minded. And that's where I was at. I was lazy minded, double minded. Things went right over my head because I didn't have the ability at the time. But it actually isn't even about ability. We say, well, I can't do that. I can't do this. But it's not about ability. It's about thinking feelingly that you can. And if you'll think feeling you can, you draw to you what draws you can. And you can. I mean, God said you can. Why would you doubt him? That's it, isn't it?
That is it. Well, sir,
Oh, that's right.
no, it's good. It's been a pleasure. I mean, we've given them some very deep stuff to think about. And I just love that the tools that's been doled out here, that's been given here. And I just hope people realize what's being given and then they begin implementing. Because, see, if you implement what we're talking about today, and of course, other talks as well, it will change your life. And
Hey, it's God. It's
absolutely,
God. He
absolutely,
does it.
absolutely,
God does all. If the God didn't do it, it wasn't done. But
absolutely.
he gave you permission to choose this day.
Yeah.
And he'll back it up 100%. even if it's rotten.
Hmm.
Oh, and one he gave you whatsoever, didn't he?
It did.
Well, that would take in all of it, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
So you got to watch what you're thinking. You know, you say things, you act like you're not on all the time, that you can say things now, but then later you can change it, but you don't. And you can't, not really, because you said it. And you have to change it. You're told very simply, change your mind, change your world. So, in other words, if you're not happy, then what your mind is doing is not making you happy, or you're not doing what's making you happy in your mind. But that's what it says when it says, think only on things that are lovely and of good report. If that's what you're thinking on, then that's what you're experiencing. But you got to be persistent. You got to be consistent because it's so easy to get sucked right back into the being in the world rather than being just of the world. Or
You
being
know,
of, not being of, well, you know what I mean.
I do. You made me think briefly. It's like the people when we go to like church and we think to ourselves, we say, well, I can't use that word in church, because we think that being in that building is where God is. And what we don't realize is what you say often, I will never leave nor forsake you. So God is where we are.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, he claims, I am with you always, but you behold me not. I go through all of this with you, but you behold me not. And that's what you want to behold. He's with you. It's omnipresent, means right here, right now, not tomorrow or the next day or down the line when you're better, when you're feeling better or when you're thinking better.
Always.
It's self in self and risen drama. Are you rising or are you falling? If you're depressed, that's falling. If you're happy, that's up. Think only on things that are lovely and of good report. I keep repeating that because that's the secret of it, isn't it?
It is the secret.
I mean, how come they can't pick up on that?
Some do. Some do. But
Yeah.
how long did it take us?
Yeah, well,
That's why. When
yeah.
you're dealing with ego mind, and the goal of ego is self-preservation, it's going to do everything in its power to keep you focused on the without. You
Oh,
know,
yes, 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 yes. It's always going to aim your direction. But that's all we were told to do when we came here was direct your own thoughts, direct your own future. You're doing so whether you're aware of it or not, because consciousness is always being objectified. You're always being conscious of what? That's all you have to ask yourself. Conscious of what? Is it lovely and a good report? If not, why not? Why are you having it around? Why are you putting yourself down? You can find enough people out there to put you down, bury you. I mean, why are you joining the chorus of those wanting to put you down? And you do. All you have to do is go, what'd you say? What do you say? If you just ask yourself, that catching yourself,
yeah,
you know, I I I I even had an excuse for that. You can make excuses so easy. It's like lying. You can lie to yourself really easy. And you've done so plenty of times. But and you've suffered the consequences many a time. But you never looked at it as something you brought about. It's always he did it, she did it, they did it, but not me. And yet that's who it is, me. I
absolutely.
have found the enemy, and he is I.
Yeah,
It is simple, isn't it?
it is simple.
And you know something? I was too simple to grab it. For many years, I had no idea what was going on. I'm totally lost in what was actually going on. I had a whole different idea of what was happening. But once you move in and start looking at what you're thinking feelingly about and what your experiences are, you should come to the conclusion you either got to change your mind or get out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I just hope somebody gets it.
Oh, they get it.
That's all. That's been my desire for 40 years. Just somebody get it. If you just wake up even just a little bit, of waking up is really it's monumental.
Yeah,
But the thing that really makes it wonderful is that you caught a sight of you seeing what's wrong.
absolutely.
And if you see what's wrong, you can right it.
Absolutely.
But as long as you're not seeing it wrong, well, then you won't change it. So, and there's always trade-offs. So if that's what you're getting, those nasty trade-offs, well, they can be treacherous. But you did it. If it happened to you, you did it. You're the ones involved. You're the ones saying the say that gets you where you are. What are you saying? If you can catch yourself doing it, you can save yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's what it means by working out your own salvation.
Absolutely.
You get rid of the nonsense, you're saved. But as long as you're playing in it, well, you're taking your chances.
All right, sir. Have a great one. People just want to know what you did to be successful.
The 4 CDs that I have out there, it's all there. If you took any one of the CDs and actually followed through on what you understood there, you could change your mind, change your world. All you have to do is just listen to the CDs. It's always reiteration and reiteration.
I want to go back to the 4 CD set. Go to metaphysicalarttheater.com. We can only mail in the U.S. right now, but for those who are outside the U.S., we can send you a digital bundle with everything, so you'll get the enjoyment without waiting for it in the mail. Matter of fact, those who are in the U.S., if you would rather have the digital copies, we can do that as well. metaphysicalarttheater.com. Before we get started, anyone interested in ordering Mr. Lindell's 4 CD set, go to metaphysicalarttheater.com. For those in the U.S., you can order physical copies or the digital downloads. For those outside the U.S., you can order the digital downloads by going to metaphysicalarttheater.com.